might be wondering how to explain social mobility crisply in an answer for UPSC. Which terms to use and which examples will score marks. And by the end of this video, you will be completely clear about the topic. Have you ever noticed how some people climb a career ladder while others seem stuck in the same place for generations? And asked why that happens? Today we will start with a simple picture of mobility, move through types and measures, look at causes and consequences, and towards the end we will understand a key idea that most UPSC aspirants miss. Think of society as a multi-story building where social positions are floors. Social mobility is the movement of people between those floors. If someone moves up, that is upward vertical mobility. If someone shifts sideways to a job of equal status, that is horizontal mobility. There are two broad kinds of systems. Open systems, where the staircases are flexible and people can climb on the basis of education and effort, and closed systems, where the floors are fixed by birth or caste. For an example, contrast the ideal of an open class system often associated with the United States with highly closed systems like historical caste or feudal orders. Another important distinction is structural mobility, which happens when the economy creates new jobs, as when industrialization replaces farm work with service and white-collar jobs. Exchange mobility or circulatory mobility is different. People trade places so the net distribution across classes stays similar even though many individuals move. We also measure mobility in time. Intergenerational mobility compares children with parents, while intragenerational mobility tracks a person's own career changes over their lifetime. Now, how do sociologists study mobility in practice? Imagine a simple origin-destination table that shows where sons of farmers end up working. Absolute mobility looks at net change in occupational distribution across generations. For example, more people in white-collar jobs today than before. Relative mobility asks a different exam-worthy question. How much does your family origin still determine your destination compared to others? This distinction, absolute versus relative, is exactly the key idea many aspirants miss when they treat mobility as a single concept. Methods matter. Longitudinal panels capture life course change, whereas cross-sectional studies give a snapshot for intergenerational comparisons. Advanced techniques like log linear models and status attainment regressions help estimate how much education and family background shape outcomes. Remember Blau and Duncan when you discuss theory. But be cautious in exams. Measurement choices like which occupational classification or which indicator you use can change your conclusions. What drives mobility in a society is a mix of structural, individual, and policy factors. Industrialization, education expansion, and labor market demand create opportunities. At the individual level, achieved characteristics such as skills, credentials, and motivation help upward movement, while ascribed features like caste, gender, and family background can constrain it. Policy levers matter too. Mass education, land reforms, and affirmative action have historically widened access and improved mobility for disadvantaged groups. Collective action, social movements, and political change can also open doors that were previously closed. So don't ignore political and legal contexts in your answers. What about consequences? Mobility reshapes class formation. Low mobility reinforces class solidarity, whereas high mobility fragments class identities. Mobility can act as a political safety valve by giving hope to the disadvantaged. But rapid or unequal mobility can also produce stress, cultural dislocation, and new inequalities. A useful exam quote to remember is Michael Young's critique that a strict meritocracy can produce arrogance among winners and demoralization among losers. Empirical studies show mixed patterns. Some Nordic countries display high mobility, while several analyses suggest relatively low mobility in the United States. For India, discuss how reservations, education expansion, and structural change have affected mobility and support your point with examples of policy and sectoral shifts. In an answer, link definitions to measurement and then to policy. That chain shows depth and coherence and helps fetch higher marks. Short examples work well. A teacher transferring schools illustrates horizontal mobility. A child of a farmer becoming an engineer shows upward intergenerational mobility. When answering case-based questions, mention data sources like longitudinal panels, origin-destination tables, and the caveats in occupational classification. Let me give you a compact exam checklist. Define mobility, classify open versus closed systems, list types, explain measures, cite causes, and discuss social consequences. Also add a line on policy implications, how education, affirmative action, and labor market reforms can enhance equitable mobility. Quick recap. Social mobility is movement between social positions. It can be vertical or horizontal, inter or intragenerational, structural or exchange, and measured in absolute or relative terms. Key causes include structural change, education, individual achievement, and state policies, while consequences range from altered life chances to political effects and social stress. Remember the exam insight. Do not conflate absolute and relative mobility, and always justify claims with an example or data source. You are now equipped to write a crisp answer, give examples, and discuss policy. That combination will make your UPSC responses stand out. If you found this overview useful, continue with EduRev for practice questions, detailed case studies, and model answers tailored for UPSC preparation. Keep practicing these distinctions aloud so the concepts flow naturally in both your answers and interviews. Good luck, and when you revise, focus on linking definitions to measurement and policy for maximum clarity and marks.